Welcome to the Do You Remember podcast. My name is Adam Anwar. I am your host, and today we'll be talking about something that holds nostalgic gold for me and my guest, which is today's stand-up comedian, Ciaran Mullins.
All right, Adam. Glad to be here, mate.
Nice one, mate. I'm glad to have you here. And today we're going to be talking about Championship Manager. So, for the people who don't know, what was Championship Manager?
Oh, what's Championship Manager, man? Championship Manager was just like it was like a simulated football management game, and basically what you'd do is you would you would just take on the position of a manager, and it would literally just overtake any life you had as a person.
I think that is absolutely spot on because that is my complete recollection. I think over the course of our conversation, everyone else is going to start realising what utter nerds we are and how much time we wasted in our lives playing this. So, when was the first time that you heard about Football Manager? Oh, sorry, Championship Manager. When was the first time that you heard about it, or when was the first time that you played it?
Yeah, so it was 2001 was when I first played it. I remember I heard from my because I went to an all boys school, so it was obviously very very macho. Yeah, an all boys school, you know what I mean. And obviously I was like a bit of a jock myself, as you can imagine. And I mean, not really. I was
That's exactly how I imagine you.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I just want.
Anytime anyone mentions you, I'm like, Ciaran. Oh, Ciaran Mullins, the jock guy, yeah.
Yeah. I was like the Biff of St. Anselm's All Boys Elementary. But yeah, but you know what I mean. But actually, to be honest, they were all like rugby kind of lads. So some of them were actually like hard. But then there was like a small group of my mates who I'm still mates with now, who like were really into footy, and then we all sort of like used to like play footy together. We always used to know all the intricate details, and then my mate was like, "I've just got this game, Championship Manager," and yeah, and that was the first. Like, it was the 2001 one.
All right, okay. And how old were you in 2001?
2001 was I was 14. You know what I mean. I was a very very proud 14-year-old gentleman.
Nice one, a proud 14-year-old gentleman, not a
Yeah,
shy
yeah.
one. I mean, of course, why would you be shy when you're the jock of the school?
when I'm literally the bad boy.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I was I was an absolute dude when I was that age. With my,
As you still are now.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I mean, I was anyway, so I'm glad. It breaks the awkwardness, doesn't it? But yeah,
I was thinking before, like when I was asking you when was the first time you played it, and I was actually trying to rack my own brain when was the first time I played it, and I remembered when it was. My brother's not like a huge football fan, but he had a Mac at the time, and it was one of those old ones, that had like the green back on it.
Oh yeah, God, that was everyone had that, didn't they, back in the day?
Yeah, he had that, and he had a demo of Championship Manager, and I was trying to think when was it, and I remember when it was. It was the exact same time that The Undertaker in WWF, because I know you're a wrestling fan as well, so you'll remember this. The Undertaker kidnapped Stephanie McMahon. It was the same time as that, and that was 98, 99, so it must have been the Championship Manager 98, 99 that I played, and it wasn't a full game, it was just a demo.
The demo, do you remember much about it? Like, no.
I remember you could play up to about 6 months, and I loved the idea of this game so much that I remember I managed about 5 teams, and it was all in the Prem. I managed like Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Leeds, because I could only play 6 months. So I thought, right, I'm going to make the most of it, and I'm going to manage all these teams. And back then, it was a lot more stripped back, wasn't it? It wasn't as involved as it is now. So you could easily manage those teams.
It's weird how like obsessed you remember, but like you remember it being like you just got obsessed with the game, even though it was completely bare basic. And because I imagine it would have been the same for you, like, because when the games would play, you wouldn't see any like visual things moving. You would just see the text.
Yeah,
do you remember it? It was like literally, it would just say like Owen about to shoot, and you would just have a heart attack just waiting to see if it said goal or not.
See if it flashed.
And, you were just praying that wouldn't happen. That wasn't going to happen. And actually, in a way, it did make you sort of more visually creative because you'd imagine like the ball going to Fowler and then, you know what I mean, hitting the back of the net. It's weird, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, you had to use your imagination a lot more, and like when it was a goal, and like say you like turned your back or something, you'd have to flick through the text to see
oh
like
yeah,
the description of the goal and be like, oh, it was an header, yeah, get in.
yeah. It was so bizarre. It was something like, yeah, you would just see no action, and it was like bloody hell. Like you just wouldn't know if goal was gonna come, and I just remember that, you know, that sort of feeling of anxiety of just waiting to see if the game was gonna fuck you over or not, man.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And the other thing was, at the time, my brother didn't live with us anymore because my brother is
Mm,
15 years older than me. So if I was
yeah,
like 10 at the time, he would have been like 25 and he lived with my grandparents.
yeah,
So the only time I could play it was when I'd be at my grandparents' house and he
yeah,
would let me play it because obviously it's his computer, so he'd probably not even let me play it all the time. And when I'd
yeah.
have to go home, I'd be so gutted because I was getting so invested in the game. And
Oh man,
it wasn't even mine, it was just a demo, but I was so into it. I don't even think I played through the 6 months in the end, but I must have played through a few months. But the reason I
yeah.
remember that it was at the same time as the Undertaker Stephanie McMahon thing was because we didn't have the internet at home because it's only
Yeah.
98, but he did. So I could
Hmm.
access the reports of what happened on Raw.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that. I remember on teletext as well. It used to be on teletext. I
Yeah,
remember you could read what happened.
I remember on that same Mac reading through what had happened on Raw and then like flicking over and letting me play Championship Manager because at the time I think you had to pay like per minute of being online. So he was like, listen,
Oh
I'll just copy and
god.
paste all this text off this thing and I'll put it
Yeah.
into like the Apple's version of a Word document and you can just read through it afterwards and like, let's get offline.
My god, man, it's like a totally different age, in it. Like people just don't understand how different it used to be just like
I
what,
feel so
20 years
old.
ago.
Exactly, it is only 20 years ago, but I feel so old. But so
Yeah.
when was it? So you said your friend mentioned it, but when was the first time that you owned it? Which one was it?
It was definitely 2001 because I remember, yeah, because like you got forgot they always used to put the demos out, didn't they? And then
Yeah.
I remember because obviously, I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm gonna make no bones about it. They're my team. But my local team, because I'm from the Wirral, is Tranmere Rovers. Yeah, so
Ooh.
and yeah. Oh, you're Bolton, aren't you? Are you Bolton?
I'm from Bolton, but I'm an Arsenal fan.
Arsenal. How didn't I know you were an Arsenal fan?
It just doesn't come up, does it? Like, because
Nah.
most of the time when we're together, you're always saying like, "Oh, Adam, you're so hilarious on stage. How can I learn to be like you?" And I'm trying to like stop you
Yeah.
from hugging me and stuff, and it's awkward.
It comes across very uncomfortable for everyone, especially when I just. I
It
mean,
is
sometimes when you.
the worst time was when you was trying to dry hump my leg. That was weird for all of us.
Yeah, yeah. I remember just you got me up on stage and I just stood there for 5 minutes because I was so in awe of, of you. And then I think the landlord kicked me out, I
It did, yeah, because I remember you took your pants off and we were like, Kieran, you can't do that.
think.
It's a public place.
And I tried to replicate exactly what you just said because it was so amazingly funny. But people couldn't hear it because I was crying at the same time.
Yeah.
It was
I
just
remember.
really uncomfortable, I think. But I'm glad you felt, you know what I mean? As long as you were happy, that's what I care about.
It's a happy memory. It's a happy memory.
Yeah. I think Matt Downey got a picture probably somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet
Shout out
lad.
Matt Downey, Pokemon fan.
Pokemon fan, yeah. Pokemon, absolute ledge. But I'm fucking, I remember, but yeah, fucking Arsenal. I bet you fucking tell me if it was the Invincible season happening again. Wouldn't you? You'd be fucking shouting around the houses. That you're an Arsenal fan.
Do you know what? The thing is, yeah, as much as I love these games, Championship Manager, Football Manager, and
Mm,
stuff like that, nowadays I'm not as invested in it anymore. Like I think
yeah.
what it was is I read The Secret Footballer book. Have you ever read that?
You know what? I haven't read the book, but I've because they used to put them up on I think the Guardian, so I used to read some
Yeah.
of their little snippets. But yeah, go on. What you saying?
So basically, I
Like,
read the Secret Footballer book, and in that, he basically described what all the footballers do in their own free
yeah,
time, and like how basically they're all just knobheads,
yeah,
excuse me, how they're all knobheads and stuff like that. And I was
mm,
just like, oh, I want to invest in this, but like at the end of the day, they are just overpaid knobheads. I still love it, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, and I still really do love watching it, but I don't live and die off it anymore. Once I heard
No.
that they don't live and die off it and they treat it like a job and like they're the ones getting
Yeah.
paid millions for it, I thought, I'm the one who's paying for this and I can't be more invested than they are. So
Yeah.
I took a bit of a step back.
Really? So you lost your love of football because of the book?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like it was like a
Jeez.
slow thing, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I kind of because basically in the book there's like loads of different stories of like what they would
Hmm.
do and like how non-seriously they would take it and like
Yeah.
how it was just a job for them and
Yeah.
all these kind of different things. And it really like basically as I got more and deeper into the book, I just everything
Hmm.
I'd learned would just kill off a little bit that love for me.
Really? Jesus, I didn't realize it was that powerful a book. But yeah, that's. But I think,
Yeah.
to be honest, I think that's kind of healthy to. Do you know what I mean? To kind of know about football in a bit more detail, because I think, you know what I mean. You kind of, to be honest, like not being that obsessed with football can be a good thing to a certain extent, because otherwise it could be all consuming, couldn't it? Really?
Definitely, I remember before that it would like ruin my weekend. If Arsenal lost a game, oh my God, it could
Mm.
literally be a weekend ruiner for me. Like they might slip
Yeah.
up against Hull or someone like that, and I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
or the rest of that day I'd be like down and not asked about doing anything. And I'm like, why? Why am I doing this in my life? Like, just
Yeah.
enjoy stuff. But like when I was a kid, I used to live for it, like Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira and
Oh, yeah.
Freddie Ljungberg and Robert Pires. And then even when Arsenal stopped being good, I still was like living and dying off it. And then when I read that
Yeah.
book, it kind of was like, all these Frenchmen who play for Arsenal probably don't care that much about the club. It is just a job for them, and the only reason they love it is because it's making them look even more special and making them
Yeah.
earn more money. And realistically, they don't care anymore about it. So I was like, screw it.
Yeah, okay, fuck me. That's very powerful. You know what? I want to read that book. I think apparently Dave. It's going to be Dave Kitson, isn't it? I think that's the rumor. Do you know,
Yeah,
remember Dave
the old
Kitson?
Reading striker. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a ginger brethren.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it'd be even more relatable for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, very much today. I imagine there's a lot of ginger bullying in the book. Am I right?
I don't think there was, to be fair, because
No.
everyone was probably kissing his ass because he's a professional footballer, and then yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Once he went shit though. I bet you know what I mean. Just fucking throwing oranges at him on the pitch and stuff.
That's probably when he stopped writing the books when he went shit, I suppose, or maybe that's when he started trying to make a new
Yeah.
career for himself, and then because everyone knew he was a secret footballer, we can't do anything to him. He'll write stuff about us.
But I think it's interesting the more footballers haven't come out with that kind of thing. I think that's such a good idea, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I think by that point in the careers, though, most of them made so much money. It's like, why would I sit down and write a book? Like, sack it. Like,
Hmm.
the only person who's really doing anything in the media, there's three off the top of my head. There's obviously Carragher and Neville who do a lot with Sky Sports,
Yeah,
and there's Peter Crouch who's got his own podcast. But all that, it's all just
yeah,
verbal stuff. It's not like you have to sit down for hours and hours and hours and write out your
mm,
story and take it to an editor and try and sell it. It's just a case of,
yeah,
do a bit of research beforehand and then get talking about a subject.
yeah. I think people are a lot more honest though nowadays. I think, aren't they? Really, like it's not very. It's kind of like wrestling in a way. I think it's not as like football's not as protected. I don't think as it once was. Everyone,
Well,
but again, I think it's because of like social media, isn't it?
I had this idea, yeah, and nobody fucking steal it. Otherwise, I'm gonna go mental. But
Not
like
promising
wrestling
anything.
shoot interviews.
Mm-hmm.
I had the
Yeah.
idea of doing like football shoot interviews where like you get footballers and you sit them down and you just talk to them about all their career and they just be
Yeah.
completely honest with you all the way throughout because that kind of thing doesn't really exist in long format. It's starting to exist nowadays more and more with footballers telling more and more about their lives, and I think Paddy Power do like a little round table quite often with like
Yeah.
Steve Sidwell and Carlton Cole and
Yes,
people
you're
like that,
right, and
and those are quite good.
John
But
Walters. Yeah.
I'd love it to just be a one-on-one with a footballer and just like not grill them, but like really question them
Yeah.
about the career and let them talk about it like with ease because none of them really do.
No, I think it's interesting. I remember I'm chatting to like one of the other comedians actually. This podcast that he put me on to. I listened
Shout
to a
them out.
couple, but yeah, it was Paul Campbell. Yeah, I don't know whether to keep his name a secret. You know what I mean? expose Campbell. But no, he went to a podcast, and admittedly, like I listen to so many. I've got to say, but I'm listening. But apparently, there are people like interviews, people like Mark Crossley. Apparently, the the lower level footballers, like you're saying.
Yeah,
I think, yeah. I think what you're saying hasn't necessarily been done, but I think there's a I can't for the life of me remember, but like Mark Crossley, who used to obviously like Brian Clough used to be his manager, and I think
yeah,
he's got
Forest
quite a few
keeper.
stories. I think, yeah, he told a story actually. I remember Paul telling me about how it was something like Mark. Oh, what's it? It's something like Mark Crossley was in a match and he threw the ball sort of across his own area instead of out to the side. So I think it was something like Brian Clough, to punish him, made him play in like an under 16s for like Nottingham Forest. And I'm sure he made him do something like the carpeting in Brian Clough's house. I'm sure it was something like
Yeah.
that.
I
But like,
think, do you
yeah.
know what? I think I've heard this story, and I think what it is I think he made him go play for Nigel
Mm.
Clough's team, Brian's
Oh,
son.
Burton or something.
No. This was like when he was in like Sunday League or something like that, or maybe not Sunday League,
Oh,
but like very
right.
low level. And he made him go play in
Yeah.
that game. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
My word, man.
But yeah, like going back to Championship Manager, like
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I remember when I was a kid before. So you got it around 2001, you said.
Yeah, yeah.
My mate had that one. I think it was like either 99 2000 or no, yeah, he had 99 2000. It had a blue disc, and I remember one of the
Mm.
ones after had a red disc. Either way, he had the blue disc one, whichever one it was. And we all
Yeah.
used to go around his house, and we always used to manage one team. And I was used to be Arsenal, obviously. And I remember
Mm.
going around to his house and playing that. And that was when I first started to get into it from a collective
Yeah.
standpoint. Because before that, I'd just be playing it by myself, and I'd be about 7 teams myself playing in the demo. But go on, mate, what were you
Yeah.
going to say?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, so what did you kind of do it as like a social thing? You just play Challenge Manager with your mate?
That was like the next step after me playing like solo because I didn't
Mm.
have it and I never thought of trying to buy it myself. I never thought of going out because I only had a PlayStation at home. We had a PC, but I never thought of buying a PC game. That was just not in my mindset.
Yeah.
So obviously I'd play the demo at my brother's house, and then my mate had it on my streets. Then we always just used to sneak into his house actually, and his dad used to say that we weren't allowed round. And then every time his dad would go out, we'd all like sneak in. I remember one time like he came in and
Yeah.
like bollocks our mate David in front of us. So then, like literally like 2 days later, we all snuck in again, and he'd literally left and come back 10 minutes later. I don't know if he was testing us or whether he'd left something at home by accident.
Yeah.
But I remember we all snuck out the back door, climbed over the back fence into next door neighbour's garden, and then like ran out that way just so one, he didn't get bollocks, but two, more importantly, we didn't have to witness the bollocking because it was awkward as fuck.
Well, it's like that, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? The kind of like rose tinted idea of like that kind of thing is we need dad to go out because I need to get need to get a girl around. You know what I mean? But actually, the most realistic thing about my childhood was it was just me and my guy mates playing for
Yeah,
Championship Manager,
yeah,
keeping it a
exactly.
fucking not telling anyone else outside our social group because they're gonna think we're absolute nerds. Like that's
Yeah.
the
Well,
reality of.
we didn't hide it from them because they would think we were nerds. We hid it from them in case they wanted to join in, and then they were adding an extra
Really?
team to our league. We was like, well, no, we've already got 6 teams. Chill out. We don't need any more.
So what? So you used to have 6 teams on the go at once?
Yeah, so like obviously like I'd be like Arsenal, my mate Gaz would be Liverpool, my mate Alan would be United, my mate David would be
Let's
Bolton,
see.
my mate Carter would be probably Leeds, and then we had two Liverpool fans. So I don't know if they used to share or whether one used to just
Mm,
pick another team or not. But yeah, we all used to have our own team, and then yeah, just
yeah. Well, I remember in '99 or there, I remember Julio and Roy Evans were managers, so maybe they were trying to replicate the co-manager kind of situation there.
there you go, because it worked so well for Liverpool, didn't it?
Well, it certainly did. I mean, Roy only lasted a month, I think. Yeah. Actually, I think it's because of Wenger, actually. I think we all got excited about French managers after he won the league, so if we can get Julio in, mate.
Yeah, Julio was good though, wasn't he? Julio, didn't he have that season where Liverpool won like 5 trophies?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, 2000. I'm sure it's 2001. Oh,
Yeah,
you know what? It's such a weird story. Like I remember there was I got three sisters, and because I don't remember Julio had a heart attack. I think
yeah,
it
he
was
did,
around
yeah.
that when we won those five trophies. But basically, there was the doctor, one of my sister's mates. dad was the doctor who like basically did the surgery to repair his heart valve.
Wow,
Whatever it was.
really?
Yeah, and he wouldn't ever shut the fuck up about it, right? And he used to go on about it so much that his wife divorced him because it was
Fucking hell.
all he ever spoke about was like, she was like, "Oh, have you done the dishes? Did I tell you about Gerard Houllier in surgery?" And he was like, "Right, fucking right." We haven't got food in the house, and you're talking about, saving Houlier's life, which I was grateful for. But yeah, his marriage broke down because he saved
Fucking
Houllier.
hell. That's
Weird, isn't it?
extreme, that. And obviously, in the divorce, she gets half of everything. So she
Yeah.
probably got half of that story in the end. So now she can only tell half of it.
You can tell half of it. If he says any more, he's like millions in alibi.
Yeah, he has to pay royalties to her.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. Imagine getting like, oh my god, that's like the worst kind of person who goes on about stuff constantly like that, man. But yeah, so weird. But I remember that Hilo. I think we won the UEFA Cup and we won the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Super Cup, and the Charity Shield.
Yeah,
Those are the
like
things.
five trophies in 1 year. And it was, I think people don't look at it as fondly because Liverpool didn't win the league or the Champions League that year, but still 5 trophies in 1 year, especially for a football manager fan like us. That's a big deal, that, because we'd love a 5 trophy season.
Oh, you fucking dream about that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my god. I mean, have you ever heard of that documentary, that Championship Football Manager doc? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was free with one of the games a couple of years ago, wasn't it? And it was like a stand-up comedian who did it, like Football Manager Ruined My Life or something.
It's called like an alternative reality, because I think like that just summed up exactly what it's like to be like a player of this franchise. Like, because did you ever do that thing like wearing like if you get to a final, like a big final, do you put a blazer on for that?
I don't, mate. I'll be honest with you, I don't.
Well, you're very Tony Pulis style of management then.
I do. Sat in my trackies with my buddy
Just
Frosties on my lap.
Frosties.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. If you won it, did you sort of pour it on your head like they do with like champagne and stuff?
If I won it, I poured it on my head. If I lost it, I poured it on my head. Basically, either way, that those Frosties are going over me.
Funny, man.
And then Mum would be like, "Adam, is this a celebratory Frosty?" And I'd be like, "No, we lost." And she'd be like, "Oh, come here, son."
It's like, that's the thing about like, because I'm like, I mean, I've always done it. Like my mate got me into
Really?
just stick a blazer on. Yeah, he put a blazer on final. But like the thing is, someone walked in on you and you're wearing that blazer. I mean, you can win, like say the playoff final. They'll think you're a loser, but actually, heart in heart,
They are wrong.
Yeah, because I won a simulated trophy.
I think that's just jealousy on their part, to be honest with you.
It teaches you good management skills, ultimately.
Exactly. They're sat there watching Netflix, playing on Instagram, and there's no reason for them to ever wear a blazer doing any of those things. But when you've got Championship Manager in front of you and you can do that. The reason why I wouldn't do it, though, is because, especially nowadays, I'm a bit of a glory fan when it comes to Football Manager. And, like, I've got to be a team that's winning trophies. So I've got to be like an arse. Yeah, like, I'm going through a current season at the moment. I don't want to go too far in depth for this.
I mean, because I know for a fact you could, and I mean, we'd be here for like 2 days, which I'd be happy about. But
I'll just tell you about the game I'm playing at the moment. So I downloaded a modifier, where you can get all the modified engines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm managing Booth Town in the 12th tier of English football, yeah?
Booth Town? Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, this guy is trying to make the top, 20 tiers of English football. He's made it up to tier 13. Anyway, I started off with Booth Town in the 12th. I got 3 promotions in a row, and I'm in the 4th season now where I'm mid-table. So at the moment, I'm in one where, I'm trying to be a very crap team and go through the ranks. But quite often, you'll see me playing, as PSG or something like that, just because I want an easy game. I want to play it while I'm half watching Netflix on the TV. I don't want to be fully invested. Don't get me wrong, when I'm fully invested, everything else goes out the window, and I'm trying to scale away and have the best of both worlds that way.
Well, that's good. That's good. You put your test in yourself. I mean, I've always been one. I love I love a bit of a relegation dogfight. I like
Right.
I will always start unemployed on it.
Really?
Yeah, always start unemployed because I know it's weird, but I like starting a season when it's about like like 10 games in, so
Okay.
that way you can because I think it's good because like I usually set it. That's the thing. I like working hard at it. So for example, I remember. I mean, actually, like the latest one I played. Like to be fair, I've like since September I've stopped playing it because it's too great. So
Yeah.
it's too great. I can't.
You've stopped
So
playing
that
since September.
yeah. I got. It's so funny because there was a point I was getting obsessed with it again, and then what happened was like because basically what happened, I started the game again unemployed, and then I got the Tranmere Rovers job. You know, my hometown club,
Sure.
brilliant. And then I was there for 2.5 seasons. Um, and I mean, I don't know if you. I guess because you mainly spot Arsenal, it's a bit different. This, but being like a lower league fan as well, you have that moment where a big club says, "Right, we want you," you know. But
Yeah.
then, what do you do? Do you leave the club that's close to your heart, or and
Well,
I
that's what's
said,
going on
yeah,
at the moment with Boothstown is because I was getting 3 promotions in a row. I got up to like the ninth
yeah,
tier of English football, which is, not even on the regular game. They only have the top 6 tiers on the game. So I got up to the
yeah.
ninth tier, and the teams up to League One were offering me the job, and I was like, no, I'm
Oh,
trying to get everyone from 12. I'm trying to get them all the way to the top, and now I'm really struggling this season. So I kind of wish I would have took that job in League One.
that's it.
Ah,
That's it. That's what I find hard. So after a bit, because actually, I think the latest game I played is probably the only file where I've been with like I think 4 teams. Because usually, what ends up
right.
happening, I'll go with a club and then I probably will leave them, but then I'll stay with them for like about like 8 to 10 years. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then the next game will come out because I don't know, like I find it like yeah, because I think when you've been with a team for like 4 years, and if you actually improve it, you kind of think, oh, I just want to keep this going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's why
Because
I like to be like a really good team because I know that if I choose a really good team, I can create like a legacy team. So whenever, like, let's say I'm PSG, I only buy players who are 21 and under. I don't buy anyone like any superstar
no,
players, and I'll try and like build a new team, and I'll literally spend all my transfer budget on anyone who's under 21 who looks like they've got a good potential. Even if they're never going to be
yeah,
in my first team for the next 6 years, I'll buy them for like 2.5 million or something just to loan them out and then make sure they're getting better and then bring them back through my team.
yeah, that's so interesting because I thought I was cutthroat because I've got a thing that like I rarely buy a player over 27, and I even think that I was probably being, do you know what I mean, a bit too cutthroat, like doing that. Because
That's what
normally, yeah,
that's
go
how I
on.
started it. I used to be Arsenal and I used to only buy players 26 max, no one
Yeah,
higher. Like yeah, nowadays I'll literally only even when I'm not playing as Arsenal now, I'll only buy players who are 21 and under. In this
yeah,
Booth Town game, it was a bit different because they were so low down. I just had to buy in anyone who was any good just to get wins and get promoted. But
yeah,
when I'm those good teams, I don't want to properly cheat and buy the best players. So then I will
yeah.
only buy like
Oh,
really young players to bring through.
100%. And actually, you are, and yeah, now you mentioned that, actually, that makes sense. Because I do that. Like, but actually, I mean, I say that, yeah, when I'm a good team, I'll usually cap it about 27. And then I'll bring in like a young player just to make sure that, okay, when this guy starts dwindling a couple of years, I'll have this nice, fresh gentleman just come in and
Yeah.
take his place. But, but I say that, but you are right. Like when I've been like lower league teams, which I do prefer, because I don't know, I really love like the playoffs, and I don't know why I've got a
Oh,
big
that's too much
fetish
stress
for
for
it.
me, the playoffs.
And I mean, like I think on my latest game as well that I played, like because I don't know if you used to do it back in the day, but I used to do a thing where like if I had a big game that decided that I'll win a trophy or I get promoted, I used to like do that thing where you save it and then you go back into the game and you'll just keep going until you
Ah,
actually.
nah, I wouldn't do that. I don't do
I
that.
used I will admit I was like that when I was in my formative years, but
Up to
I
about
thought
29, yeah.
yeah, you can't you can't be a bastard about it. You gotta, it's fate, isn't it? Ultimately, it's the butterfly effect. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So like the latest one, like I went from like Tranmere to Sheffield United, which is again like one of my family teams, that Sheffield United, and I was really
Yeah.
shit with them. And then I was a Stoke manager, and I had such a good team. And then I got into the playoff final, and yeah, I lost in the playoff final, and I was devoed, and I was like, oh God, I'm such a good guy for not being scummy with this. I remember, I mean, this is gonna make you cry. This story, it's very, I mean, you can't write this,
Right, go on.
but this is like, it's like about 2000, I'm sure it's like 2004, 2005. But there was, but like the lowest team I've been, I remember this, it was Northwich Victoria, and I got
Right.
them from, I think from a conference like North. No, I'm sure I got them from like the South and got them promoted twice,
Yeah.
and got them in the conference. And I remember it came on to the last day of the season, and I needed to win to get promoted into the Football League. So I think, yeah, because I was going to say, so I had this Northwood Victoria found about 2004, 2005, and that's the lowest team I've ever been. So I took them from the Conference South, got them promoted, and then I think I got 2 promotions. And then in my last game of the season of the conference, I needed to win to get promoted into the Football League.
Yeah.
And I remember because I've heard of Charlie Sheringham. You've heard of it?
Charlie
You can
Sheringham.
you can probably
No,
guess
Teddy's
who he
son,
is.
yeah?
Yeah, Teddy's son. Because I remember he was with Ipswich, and it was Teddy Sheringham's last season. I don't know how I managed to swindle this, but I managed to have Teddy Sheringham as well.
Right,
And
okay.
oh God, this is poetic. This, and I literally I would play, and I think it was literally only had him for like a season because he was retiring Sheringham. But I'll always remember last game I played Charlie and Teddy, father and son. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Playing up front together, and I'm not even making this up. This would be an epic film. This, but put in like the 90 plus minutes. I always remember Charlie Sheringham crossed it over, Teddy Sheringham smashing it in the back of the net for his final ever game. Getting, I mean, it's the way you'd want to go out, not
Definitely.
getting a conference team into the league, and Teddy retired, and it was beautiful. But yeah, that's probably been the most, probably the most emotional game of my life.
Oh, I bet.
Like,
And you'd be loving it as well, like getting into the Football League out of the conference and with a goal like that, son to father, boom, back of the net.
Oh, it's just absolutely amazing. Like, I mean, I don't know what's happened to Charlie since in real life, but it was amazing. And you know what I mean? Because I remember there was the time when when I was like buying, like, I had like 4 of the Pogbas, I think, in one team at one point, just, you know what I mean, just get a family gathering going. I remember.
So you kind of see Football Manager as a chance to like bring families back together.
Bring families together. I'm basically like a manager / a social worker.
See, I'm the opposite of that. Whenever I'm AC Milan and I've got all the Donnarummas in one team, I've got to sell the crap one.
Yeah, what have you got? Are there a few Donnarummas on it?
Yeah, so there's like, obviously there's the goalkeeper, I think that's Antonio Donnarumma. Yeah. And then there's another one who's a striker, but I think there's 3 of them. One doesn't play for AC Milan, but 2 do.
Yeah, I think you're right. Does one play for I can't think, Sampdoria or something. I can't think.
I think it might be Brescia, but I'm not too sure.
Yes, I think you're right, because I've just got a picture of like a blue team in my head. Yeah, I think you're right.
So you mentioned that you like to start about 10 games into the season. This is one thing that I like to do sometimes, is when I can't be bothered starting from the beginning of the season, is I will load up the game, I'll make it start in like January, February. I'll use the Brazilian leagues to make it start in January or February. Yeah. And then I'll forward it on to whatever today's date is, like just by going on holiday.
Yeah.
Then I'll retire. I won't manage a team. Then I'll retire that manager. Then I'll just make a new manager afresh. So basically, I'm starting from the very day that it is today, and I'll have a look at the leagues and see where everything is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll take a team that's like trying to go for like maybe a Champions League spot. Sometimes I'll go for the team. It depends on where we are in the season. But if they're bottom of the league and it's like Christmas time, I'm like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to take that bottom of the league team. West Ham, a bottom of the league, I'm going to take them.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get them up. So that's one of the things that I do when I want to try and challenge myself.
Yeah. So what? So what? So if like, I don't know, let's pretend we're in normal times. So if it was like the first, I don't know, let's say like
Let's say it's
a week
Valentine's
before
Day,
the
yeah?
end of May. Yeah. So you would
Let's say
start on Valentine's Day on the game.
I'd start on February the 14th, yeah. If it was Valentine's Day today, obviously, I wouldn't be with a girl. Ugh, no, I'd be playing Football Manager.
Well, it's self-explanatory in what you just
That's
said.
what I'd be
Yeah.
doing on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'd forward it. I'd go on holiday to February the 14th, then I'd retire, then I'd add new manager, create a new one, and I'll start as today. Here's another thing. What do you do when you start as a manager? Do you have international experience or do you have no experience? Do you have badges or not?
I go for like not a lot. I go for like semi-pro footballer. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you're a cheat. You're a cheat. You're not a
What
semi-pro footballer,
do you
mate.
know?
I
What
go
do you
Sunday.
just get?
I go Sunday league
Yeah,
footballer, no badges.
yeah, right. That's so weird. You kind of balance me out then, because you sort of go from like, you know what I mean. It seems like you go for the bigger teams but with far less experience, whereas I go for
Sure,
like
yeah.
a weaker team with like just a tad more. That's the thing. I'm not going to go professional footballer. I'm not an animal. You know. I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I like to sometimes pretend I'm like. You know, I don't know if you ever watched the Renford Rejects years ago.
I did used to play the Brentford Rejects
Yeah, you know that manager was like about 23. Oh, and his career could have been
because he
great. I
couldn't
like
play
to think of
anymore.
myself. Yeah, but
Barry
you
Grade,
know
Bruno
he'd have been great.
Gradi.
Bruno Gradi, he was like Italian, but he was actually like Geordie or something. But he
Yeah.
put it on.
Do you remember the episode where like Gianfranco Zola was on it and Martin Keown was on it?
Yes.
And
So
Keown didn't want to
insane.
be a bruiser anymore. He wanted to be a skillful player, and Zola wanted to be a bruiser. That was such a great episode.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that is so weird.
Do
Oh
you ever
yeah, man. Yeah.
do you ever use any of the modifiers that like people make their own like databases online? Do you ever use any of those?
Nah, I've never done that. I'm by the book. I want it to be as normal as possible.
Because that for me gets me more mileage out of the game because you can do all kinds of different stuff. Like I said before,
Yeah.
I'm on the one where there's now 13 tiers to the English Football League, not just the six that are on the game already.
Yeah.
And like,
So,
there's
is it realistic? I mean, you can like Booth Town. Has it got all the players in it and stuff?
it's not got any of the players in it, no. So you've got to like basically buy a whole team from scratch. But
Wow.
you are in the position they would be in, and obviously if you did take them over in real life, you probably would want to not get rid of all the players, but you want to implement your own players in sooner or later. So
Yeah.
that's an easy thing. But yeah, it has got all the right teams in the league, and it is obviously when
It's
you
cool.
go down the pecking order, you get to like levels, even level 6 in the English tier, it splits off into two leagues, Conference North and South.
Yeah, yeah.
So under that, there's like multiple leagues on each level. So like I'm in like the must be the ninth tier at the moment, but there's probably like seven leagues in that structure. So there's so many teams that he has to go through. This poor bloke who's doing it. But
Oh God.
I love those modifiers and doing stuff like that. One thing that I also like to do is when I'm really can't be bothered with Football Manager anymore, when
Yeah.
it's towards the end of the season, I can't be bothered playing, but I want to get more mileage out of the game because I've paid for it. I make myself as
Make
a
yourself.
16-year-old, yeah.
Okay.
I
Is
mean,
that like a fetish thing?
no, what I do is that I make Adam Amor as a 16-year-old, but I make him like unlimited potential, yeah, and then I'll
Yeah.
put him at like Bolton, and I'll play a season at Bolton, and then inevitably at the end of the season, a good team will take over me, and this is why I do it is because whoever buys the character Adam Anwar in the game,
Yeah.
I will then go and manage that team for a season, because then it's not up to me who I'm managing. It just completely depends on where my player signs his contract.
That's so interesting, man. That's such a like a. You got all these really interesting rituals that I just never thought about. It's like.
It's just ways for me to like make the game more interesting because there's loads of different
Yeah.
things. Like what some people do is they make like a Wonder Kids pack. So like all the wonder kids in the world who like might not be on the game, they'll
Yeah,
make them because obviously over the course of the season, like I remember the season that Rooney came out of nowhere. He probably
yeah,
wasn't on Championship Manager at the start of that season.
yeah. That's right.
So like they'll make all these wonder kids, and sometimes they'll just make like old professionals kids. So they make like I don't know, Cliver's other son, not Justin, but like
Yeah,
his son
I
that's like
forgot.
13.
I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure they were like kind of almost like replicas. Like, yeah, you'd get like Cliver. You get like when Cliver would retire, you just get like a John Cliver or something.
That's it. But these people will make the actual kids who are alive in real life, and let's say they're at like Barcelona youth team, they'll just make like a 12-year-old Clivert's son and put him in there, and
Yeah,
it can make it a lot more interesting because you get all these new players. Because I don't know about you, but I end up buying the same players over and over again, and I get bored of it. So when you can add a bit of difference to it,
yeah. Well, I think that's why I think that's why I go when I play, I go for like lower league teams because I think it's like because if I were to go straight for a I don't know for like I don't know be like a Liverpool or a Chelsea or something like I would end up just buying the same kind of young up and coming players, but with I think with lower league teams you're kind of reliant on maybe like an older player or you've got to. The one bit I love is like after the first season, you just have like all these free transfers.
oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, it's like Black Friday for football, isn't it? That's what I look forward to. And then there's always a little trick as well. I don't know if you've ever done this, but sometimes like I know like if I was Tranmere or something, there'd be a player who didn't want to come to the team because what I mean, it's Tranmere Rovers, but you just keep an eye on him. Yeah, just offer him a trial because then basically, if you have them on trial, they're far more likely to say yes.
Yeah,
So what I would do, like I would, so there's a player I wanted. Sometimes they'd say, "Nah, fuck you, mate. So I don't want to go to Tranmere Rovers." Um, I would then just I would just wait, and then you just literally just wait like 2 months, and eventually they
yeah.
wouldn't have a club because there was for example, I mean, it's a bit of a controversial one, but like Ched Evans.
Oh no, you didn't
It's
buy
no,
Ched Evans, did
well,
you?
look,
Come on,
no,
even in a fantasy land,
I
Kieran.
know,
Come on,
I know. It's not.
controversial shout.
I know, man, but he scored. He scored like 25 goals for Oxford, and I was like, I need it. Norwood had gone, so what I mean. I was a little bit standoffish with it, but to be fair, I like left about after I signed him anyway, so morally I was fine. Um, but yeah, but basically he didn't want to join me because he was playing with a better team. So after about 2 months, I offered him a trial. Actually, it was a bit like he came crawling back. You know what I mean? His tail
I
between his legs.
I found this really interesting thing actually in this Booth Town game
Mm.
is because I do that anyway. Always get when I'm a crap team, I always get loads of players on trial just because I can't be bothered scouting them, and it's a quick way for
Yeah,
me to like get all the scout reports and like see how good they are. But like I
yeah,
noticed that if I change their how often I'm going to play them to like star player
mm.
instead of like a breakthrough talent or whatever it's listed as now.
Yeah,
If I change it to star player, they'll sign for like a
yeah,
different kind of contracts because obviously I'm in non-league, so I can only get part-time contracts.
yeah,
So I'm getting a lot of these, not even on part-time contracts. I'm getting them on non-contracts where like if I play them,
yeah,
they get £60, and they're all just agreeing to that because I'm saying they're a star player. So like I'm
yeah.
managing to like fudge the system a little bit.
It's a nice way around it. You can sort of tease them because you know in your head, what I mean. You got to be a bit cut. You got to be a bit Brian Clough. You got to be smart if you because you're not going to play them day in or day out, but you're desperate, aren't you? So you say, yeah, you're all going to be key players, mate. But you know that after a month, you're like, right, off you go, mate. I lied.
Yeah, and
So
yeah, I love doing that. And do you know what? Just speaking to you, I'm keen to actually go back and be like League Two team or something like that. I used to be, I think it was Cheltenham, I think, around 2001. I
yeah,
think they're like the worst team in League Two,
yeah,
and I used to be them quite often.
yeah,
So what other like star signings do you remember doing? So you mentioned that like you don't really
Yeah,
like to choose a specific team. You like to start unemployed. So
yeah.
what like mega signings? You mentioned Sheringham, but who else were like your mega signings that you remember?
Oh, some big signings. I don't know, let's think, man. There's so many. I mean, I've signed so many players back in the day. I think I think my more recent one actually. I actually did sign Karen Benzema for Tranmere Rovers in League One.
Really?
Yeah, like
How did that
I had him
happen?
on, I had him on trial, and like because I was doing all right, but for some reason he was about like 37 or 38, and he just didn't have a team. And I signed Karen Benzema, but then he was just crap, to be honest. But
Really? Even for
that
Tranmere?
yeah. But but this is it. Like sometimes my heart does rule my head, but normally like yeah, that was a weird one. And yeah, he only wanted about like 4 grand. He was on hard times, obviously. And I did take advantage of it.
He must have been, but I suppose he took advantage of you because he was crap for you.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't live up to expectations. Um,
I remember once, like my biggest signing that I ever, not a biggest signing, my best signing I ever did. There's two actually that stand out in my mind. One from the old days, from the actual Championship manager. So I mentioned that first. I got
mm.
Ronaldinho for Arsenal, right?
Oh,
And
gorgeous.
this is when I think he was either still at Gremio or he was at PSG. But basically, he hadn't made it to Barcelona yet. I don't think he made it to PSG yet. But yeah, I managed to get Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
And literally every single time I had a game, I would try and buy him, and he would never meet the requirements for a work permit, so I could never sign him.
Oh.
And this one game I did, and I remember I had this formation that was like a Christmas tree that had no striker, but I had Ronaldinho as the centre attacking mid, and
Yeah,
oh
like
my
the
god,
false nine.
I was smashing the league with that formation, and it was back in the days where you could have the arrow pointing up where you wanted them to run.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
I
remember that?
remember that.
I'd have
Yeah.
this arrow pointing up at the top of the Christmas tree, and I was smashing the league up with that Ronaldinho. But the other one, and this is my favourite one of all time, is when I was in uni, it must have been Championship Manager, no, Footy Manager 2011.
Yeah.
And I was AC Milan, and do you know in those days in Serie A, there used to be like a co-ownership thing where like two teams could own a
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
And at the end of the season, both teams would have to bid for that player. If the bid was equal, he would just stay at the club where
Oh my
he was
God.
already at.
That's so weird, man. I never got the handle of how that thing works. That's so weird.
See, I didn't, but this one time I was playing it on Footy Manager 11 years, AC Milan. And at the time, this is when
Yeah.
AC Milan had just started losing all the big dogs in real life, like
Yeah.
Thiago
Costa Curta.
Silva, Zlatan, all like I think
Yeah.
they'd even lost Costa Curta and all these already. I think they had Gattuso maybe at the time, but yeah,
Yeah.
they had all these big contracts as well of players that weren't good anymore. So that was the first thing I did. I went
Mm.
on there, I shifted on all those contracts, and I think I snuck the league in the first season. But anyway, we get to the end of the season, and it's
Yeah.
Alberto Pelosi who played for Swansea a couple of seasons ago,
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
and it's time for me to bid for him on this co-ownership deal. And when
Mm.
it comes through, I didn't really want him, so I just bid zero, thinking that they will bid zero and I might get him.
Yeah.
It went to them, and then the game crashed.
Oh.
So I restarted it.
Mm.
I had to go forward another 2 weeks to get to that point again. And I thought, do you know what? That Alberto Pelosi, because he was about 2.5 star, 3 star rated, and I thought it's kind of okay. I could have him in my team as a backup. So I bid
Yeah.
£1, one single pound, thinking, I wonder if the game's clever enough to outbid me, or whether it's just going to bid in zero again because that's what it bid last time.
Yeah.
I bid £1 and I got him. I got him
Gone
for
for
a
a
pound.
quid.
And then
Yeah.
I'm not joking. For the next 5, 6 seasons, he was my top scorer,
You gone for a quid.
and I got him for a quid. And so it was so much better than getting him on a free transfer because I paid a quid for him. I
Oh
remember like
yeah.
showing my uni housemates at the time. They're like, "This is ridiculous." And like
It's
honestly, I
it's
was
good for the
winning.
papers, isn't it? It's good for the publicity.
I
As
was
in,
winning the
like
Champions League with him as well.
a
Oh
guy
my
for a
god,
quid,
a
and
guy
you
for
are
a
winning this.
quid! What a signing that was.
Oh man, that sounds absolutely beautiful. That exactly. It's one of those things you have these beautiful things that you just don't forget from this like world that I don't know, you've created.
It
It's
is. It is a wonderful world, and that's why I like as well. I like all those modifications to it because,
Mm.
like, I do like the fantasy aspects of Football Manager as well sometimes, where you can just do stupid stuff like, for example, make yourself and go and play in 10 different, like, add that as Latin career where you play in like 10 different leagues
Yeah,
through your career and you're winning the league in all these different places. Because another thing was like, when I used to make myself and like, let's say PSG would buy me, I'd play for PSG, but
yeah,
then I would just spunk their entire transfer budget on players for that season, not caring about potential, or I'd sell off all their
yeah,
wonder kids to like make money. I'd buy the best team possible, win the league and
mm.
hopefully the Champions League with them.
Yeah,
Offer to sell Adam Manwar on again, but with the
yeah.
caveat that PSG would pay most of his wages, so my next club got a proper discount. I'd end up somewhere like
Oh,
Juventus and I'd do it all over again. That's a cheating game, that one, but that just makes it slightly different. Then you can look on it and go, what could have been Adam Anwar? He had a 15-year career where he played in all these leagues. Fantastic.
yeah.
I've been sat on my ass playing Football Manager while my fantasy version of me has a good career.
Is sunning up in Spain and going to like I don't know United Arab Emirates. You know what I mean? China. Well, yeah, man, it's fucking brilliant. I remember, obviously, like I'm a Liverpool fan, as I've stated publicly.
Sure.
Um, the assistant that I always used to go to that you haven't been able to get in like the last 3 or 4 was Jamie Redknapp. Because
Really?
yeah, like so he was always my assistant, no matter where I was. Redknapp, like it would actually put me off getting the game, like if I didn't have Redknapp as my assistant. Like, because I was like,
Why?
because me and him, we had we work well together, me and
Like
Jamie.
Ericsson and Todd Grip, yeah?
Oh yeah, man, we could only pray to be that good together. Or like Hodgson and Ray Lewington, fucking it's fucking brilliant. And I always had this file, and this is where I thought like this game, this is unrealistic. Is because I remember I had from what club I was at. I was manager of Poland as well as a team, and
Okay.
I had as my backroom staff. I think I had like Fowler, Owen, maybe not Owen, but I had like something like Fowler, Owen, Redknapp, McAteer, David James, Steve McManaman. So I had like the Spice Boys kind of back together, and then I remember getting the Italy job, and then I thought great, and then
Right.
I had all these players, and I applied, and I got Redknapp, got McAteer, got Owen, got McManaman. But wait, Robbie Fowler doesn't want to move to Italy. So I had this image in my
What?
head of go. It's weird, isn't it? Of like going to the airport with all the lads, going right, we're going off to Italy, and Robbie Fowler's like, guys, I'm not coming. I'm like,
I want to stay in Poland.
I want to be Poland's under 18s junior coach, so I'm not going to move with you to sunny Italy. And then I remember just like I carried on playing the game, but I never forgot like Fowler fucked me over to stay in Poland when he could have, you know what I mean? Been
Is it
with the
one of
big
those
boys.
things for you, like where Jason Manford was a bit fussy with Micah Richards when he met him in real life because he turned up late for training a few times?
Yeah, it is a bit like that. Like I've had events invite me to like Robbie Fowler's portfolio Q&A. I'm like, no,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I haven't forgotten when you broke the band up, you know. But I
He was the
remember that.
Yoko Ono of your backroom staff, really, wasn't he?
He was, and I forgave him in real life when he pretended to do coke against Everton. I forgave him. I said, "Come back," and then he was, what I mean, he was just putting it on, you know what I mean. But he fucked me over, so
It's out of order, isn't it? Out of order. I've just remembered actually my best ever game on
mm,
Championship Manager, and it was
yeah,
Championship Manager 4, right? And what I did was I took over the USA. I don't know why I chose the USA,
yeah,
and
that's weird.
I would only play players that had never had an international cap before. Well, before me anyway.
It's like you like creating your own challenges, which I
Exactly,
can't.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Just to make it more interesting for me. So,
that's
I had this team where I had like Edson Buddle. I don't know if anything ever came of
Edson
him.
Buddle. I remember him.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah. I remember Edson. He was. Edson. I can see him. I can see him. Picture him in my head because I think I had his picture. But yeah, because in the MLS, he would always just be banging him in. I remember.
Yeah, and he's a striker in real life, and I think
Mm.
maybe at the start of this game he was like maybe 22 to 25 in that time
Hmm.
frame, and like he was my star striker. He'd never played for America before, so I was like, right, he's gonna be my player. And there was some centre
Yeah,
back, and I can't remember who it is, but to be fair, it was about 13 years ago. But yeah, there was some
yeah,
centre back that him and Edson Buddle were like my main men, and I used to really rely on them. And I
yeah.
won the World Cup. I won the World Cup with USA.
you're you're having a laugh with no capped players.
No cap players. If you had a
That
cap, they were from me, and if you had a cap from someone else, I'm not having you. You're second-hand goods.
that is great, man. Was Landon Donovan like kicking off, like, mate, I'm here, and you're like, nah,
I think, do you know what? I
fucking
think this was the very first times when you would have someone kicking off with you if you didn't select them. And I think Donovan
yeah,
probably was one of the main people who was kicking off because there was obviously Donovan, there was like Casey Keller, Brad Friedel, Tim
yeah,
Howard. All they had was like 100 sick goalkeepers,
yeah,
like no
yeah,
one else really.
yeah. They did. Man, they had sick goalies, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, I
wait,
remember. Yeah,
I've just remembered who the defender was. I can't remember his
Jay
name.
Demerit.
No, but he played for like AC Milan or someone like that in real life, and he got injured and he refused to take his wages.
Oh, an American
Oh,
centre back.
I can't remember who it was. It was African American, and he basically got injured when he was in. I'm sure it was Serie A, and
Mm,
he refused to take his wages because he was injured. And but yeah, I can't remember his name, but yeah,
mm.
that's who it was. And him and Edson Buddle, basically, those are my guys.
Yeah, that's so weird. You say Buddle because I remember him on the game. Bloody hell.
Yeah,
Yeah, and remember and as well. Remember like Freddie Adu, the American, who everyone
I,
thought was going to be like incredible.
yes, and like you could sign him on a free when he was like 14 or something like that.
Yeah, and he was like immense. Everyone thought he was gonna. I remember everything going around school and like, oh, the American Pele he's gonna be. And on Full
Yeah,
Manager, he just stormed it. But yeah, it was absolute. But yeah, just I think he's still playing now. But he's only 30.
he's probably
And
because he's about our age, but he
yeah,
he's one of the great examples of all these like players who became
mm,
like wonder kids on Football Manager, but in real life
mm,
never quite made it. Like there was a guy on, I think it was either 2000, 2001 or 2001,
mm,
2002. And it was a Derby County centre mid, and I used to buy him all the time. His name was Tonton
yeah.
Zola Makoku.
Yes,
I used to
Tonton
buy him
Zulubukoku.
all the time, and my mates always used to joke about it. But he was sick.
You know what? That's so weird. I think he became because Tranmere had a player. We had a guy called Calvin Zola, and I'm sure that's like what he became basically. I'm sure that he changed it to put his name as Calvin from then on. But I remember
Possibly,
that
I'm not sure.
Calvin Zola Makongo, he was called. I don't know. They might be brothers. I'm not sure, but yeah, I remember that. I think as well, like Cherno Samba as well with that Millwall striker.
Yeah, Cherno Samba was another big like one of these star players of the future that never like became anything, wasn't
Mm.
he?
Yeah, to tell you though, when I thought actually in retrospect, I thought, man, Full Manager is so accurate now. When it must have been like about 2009, 10. You remember when like Balotelli was at City and he was like at his
Yeah,
peak, and everyone was like, wow. And I think he was only like about 23. But I remember having a file, and I was like at Arsenal or something, and I remember
yeah.
taking over, and and then yeah, and he was somewhere else, but he was only like 26. And I think someone had him, like, I don't know, maybe even like, it might have been Man United or something, but either way, his stats were fucking terrible. I remember
Yeah,
playing the game, and I was thinking, man, this game is so unrealistic. He's like 26. Like, how can his rating be so terrible? Like, because 26, 27 is usually when guys hit their peak, in it,
sure,
really.
yeah.
And I remember thinking at the time, like, God, this is so unrealistic. But actually, like now I think, bloody hell, they had it spot on. How did they predict that he was gonna in like 2, 3 years his career was just gonna snowdive? Isn't that weird?
Definitely. I remember Balotelli specifically as one of the players that I knew about on Footy Manager before I knew about him in
Mm.
real life. Because it must have been around '09, no, '08, '09, I would say. My mate put me onto him and a right back from Inter Milan called David Santon, and he was like, listen, you got to buy these two
Yeah,
players, and they were sick that season.
yeah. Santon, he ended up at Newcastle, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
Davide Santon, yeah. I think he went to. Oh no. I think it was someone else. I was thinking of debut. Yeah, yeah. But Santon did play for Newcastle. Um, but yeah, but it's that's why I think the game and like you remember that documentary, like so much goes into it now. I think there's even like scouts who I think Football Manager actually. I remember seeing a job
Yeah.
application for scouts for Football Manager, which is like bizarre, but they're so on it now.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, Miles, the guy who's like head of football manager now, he was saying like often like people from football clubs will like speak to them and be like, "Oh, what do you think of this player?" They just made the
Mm.
game, but they're saying like, "What do you think of this player?" It's mad
Yeah,
that like life's imitating art now.
it's bizarre. I remember seeing that in that documentary I mentioned before when like Alex McLeish was like manager of I don't know it was Rangers or maybe I can't remember or maybe Birmingham. Apparently his son came in and was like, "Oh, there's a player on this game. He sounds really good." And Alex was like, "Yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, who is it?" And his son was only like 14. And he's got Lionel Messi for Barcelona. He's like, "Ah, okay, son. Yeah, no worries."
Yeah,
He just fucking dismissed it. But his son was literally promoting probably the greatest footballers ever existed.
and oh, can you
Um,
imagine if they would have landed him?
Man alive. It's a bit like, yeah, I don't know if you know this, obviously, as a sort of Sheffield United fan as well. Um, we we had the choice in the 70s of signing this Argentinian player or this other Argentinian player, Diego Maradona.
Never heard of him, mate.
But I don't know whatever happened to that guy. But being Sheffield United, we went for the guy who wasn't Diego Maradona and he was shite. So,
Of course.
yeah, bit nerdy trivia. But
Oh, that's like a Wenger story all over. Wenger was always one of those. Oh yeah, we almost got Ronaldo, we almost got this guy, but almost don't count, Wenger. Almost don't count, mate.
yeah, because I think you had Zlatan, didn't you, on trial? And
Yep.
I remember hearing Wenger said to him, like, we want you to do a trial. And Zlatan was only like about 18, he was like, not have a trial. He was already that arrogant at like the age of 10.
So you mentioned earlier on that like you and your mates used to talk about it, and I mentioned that me and my mates used to
Yeah.
like all go around to David's house and play when his dad wasn't in. But like, have you ever played a network game?
You know what? No, I've played it, man. What goes on with that business?
So like basically like with a network game, one player sets it up and then he sends an invite out to everyone and then you can all join it. So basically you're all playing it at home separately,
Yeah.
but it's all connected to one game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
So,
like
so what? You're all in charge of the team.
yeah, so like for example, I've got one of my mates at the moment where I'm AC Milan. My mate Rick is Napoli. I think
Hmm.
Alan is Inter Milan, and my other mate is someone else in Serie A. We all said we
Hmm.
won't take Juventus, and we'll just take some of the other good clubs in Serie A.
Yeah.
So like, or they call Zebre on this current one, aren't they? Because they didn't
Yeah.
get the rights to name Juventus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yes, they called them Zebre, you know, like the zebras.
Right.
um, so yeah, basically, so we'll all be in our own separate houses. We'll all be playing Football Manager, but it's all connected to the same game. So like
Yeah.
first game of the season, I was playing my mate Rick, AC Milan versus Napoli, and we drew
Hmm.
2-2. And like,
Oh.
see, and that's like a good game in it because like you're playing against your mate live there in person.
Yeah, that's
If I would have
cool.
started my first game of the season and by myself and I'm playing and I drew 2-2, I'd be fuming. But because I'm playing
Yeah.
against my mate and I drew 2-2, I'm thinking, it's not a bad result that because he's a challenger for the league.
Yeah. So how does it work then in terms of like days? Do you know what I mean? So
So you can't move on until everyone else has moved on that day.
right, okay, that's
So
cool. That's
yeah, so
cool.
say me and you are playing it now, and I'm on it, and I'm like
Hmm.
trying to scout some players, but you've pressed continue. It'll just wait on that screen until I've pressed continue as well.
Oh man, that's cool. So is it? Because I know obviously sometimes when you go on continue, it just puts you like 2 hours ahead. But what is it? Does that literally happen like every hour? Do you know what I mean? Or
It
in that
depends,
day?
obviously. If something's going on with one of the
Mm.
players, it'll pop you back up, and then it's sometimes frustrating because like let's say you're not doing anything,
Yeah,
then like you're just sat there waiting. But a lot of the times, what I do is I'll just set myself on holiday and
yeah,
I'll set myself to return for the next game. So like if I want to like log back in and play, I can just press like the button, return from holiday, and next time it comes
Yeah,
on, I'll play. But otherwise, I'll just wait till my next game's on.
that
Especially
sounds
this,
pretty cool.
especially the start of the season where like everyone's doing the transfers. If you've already spent all your budget and there's like 2 weeks till
Mm,
the first game, or it's like the international break and nothing's going on, just set
mm,
myself on holiday for 2 weeks till my next game comes along. But yeah, then you're playing against your mates and like it also there's the banter involved, especially if you're doing shit and like you're bottom of the pile compared to everyone
yeah,
else. Then yeah, you're gonna get pelters, aren't you?
yeah. So what does that? Can you like once you've started a network game? So does that mean that like say one of you can't like what am I trying to say?
So
So
if
if you
like someone
start,
if someone can't
yeah,
play, we've got
yeah,
two options. We could either all play when we're all online, or let's
mm,
say Kieran can't play today, but the rest of us can. Then the rest of us
yeah,
might like just say to you, "Listen, we're going to play. Do you mind?" And you might be like, "Nah, I don't mind. Play." And
yeah,
then as long as you don't miss the transfer window or whatever, you don't mind people playing on because like it's pretty intensive as well, isn't it?
mm.
Football Manager. You might not want
Oh
to play
yeah.
it every single day. Um,
No, it is intense, man.
So if you miss like 2 or 3 games, it's not the end of the world. But for the most part, everyone wants to be involved every day. I don't mind it when
Yeah,
they play on without me, though. I don't mind if I miss a game here and there.
yeah, yeah. That's cool, man. But yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I think my mate would probably be up for that kind of thing because obviously the thing is, I have actually got like the latest Football Manager,
Oh, do
but
you? But you've not played
yeah,
it.
no, I just haven't played it, and that's because I know that I just get too addicted to it.
Do it. Just do it.
Oh man, I know that's the thing. It's just waiting for me. Do you know what I mean?
Did you make that
But it's
direct
like
transition from Championship Manager to Football Manager, or did you linger on for a while with Championship Manager?
no, I went straight on to man. Yeah, because I mean, does Championship Manager? Because wasn't it just was it IDOS or something? EDOS, EIDOS.
Yeah, there was
Like
some
they
kind of
changed
split,
software
wasn't there?
developer.
And then they branched off and did Football Manager that ended up being way better than Championship Manager, but like Championship
Yeah.
Manager was the original. Then after that, when both games were still coming out each year, the
Mm,
Championship Manager one was crap. And I remember my housemate at uni, Johnny was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna play Championship Manager," but I could see secretly he was like,
oh,
"Yeah,
was
this ain't as
gel.
good." It's like I bought PES a few years ago just to try it,
Yeah.
and my mates all bought FIFA, and I was trying to justify it to them, but I knew within
Yeah.
myself FIFA was still better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. I mean, I thought myself like there's a time with me and my mates like we were like FIFA for years, and then we went to Pro Evo for about like 5 years. But then after a while, like FIFA just started upping its game, and that sort of took
Sure.
over again. But I've heard PES is meant to be really good. Like,
It is, but like it's just I don't know. It doesn't feel as right to me playing it as like FIFA. Just
yeah,
feels a lot smoother to me. It does anyway. I don't know about other people, but yeah, to me it just feels like a smoother
yeah,
game. But I do like the graphics a lot better on PES. I do think those are really good, really good.
yeah. I've heard the graphics are meant to be a lot like meant to be on point, you know.
Yeah.
But
But like, what about other management simulator games though? Have you ever played any of the other ones, or has it just strictly been Championship Manager, Football
oh,
Manager?
you know what? I don't know if do you remember LMA Manager? Do you remember
I, I do. I was terrible at LMA Manager.
that? Yeah, like I was absolutely awful, but yeah, I mean that was all right. Like me and my mates we used to play that quite a bit. I can't remember too much, but I think yeah, I used to alternate between that and Championship Manager, and there was
Yeah, because it
also
was on the PlayStation, that one.
it was yeah, but I remember that was all right. It wasn't as in depth as Footy Man or Champ Man though. I remember when FIFA brought out a thing, and I'm sure it was called like FIFA Manager, and
They did, didn't they? I don't think it was very good, was it?
it was absolutely dog shit. Yeah, I remember it was absolutely awful. Um, but that's the thing. Like, I just think full managers, there's nothing like it, is there? It's just there's.
It's
I
head
mean,
of its class, isn't it?
yeah. I mean,
There,
have you tried to find others?
there was one game on the PlayStation that I did really enjoy, and I think it was called like Premier League Manager or something like that.
Yes,
Do you remember
yeah.
that?
I
And
played that.
that
Yeah,
one was really good. I did used to really enjoy that one. I remember Bohan Djordjic for United was like a really sick player on it. He was like a youth player, but he was like really good.
yeah. You're right. Yeah, I remember Bojan Djordjic. Everyone thought he was going to be amazing. There's also remember someone called like Dong Fanzu as well. It's meant to be, it's meant to be amazing. He went shit as well.
Do you remember there was a series of games that came out, and I can't remember the name of it, but like basically you could only manage one team on it, and I had the England version, so I could just manage the England team, and it wasn't a good game, but I
What?
persisted with it for so long.
What? There was a management game. You can only manage one country.
Yeah, and like literally the game that I got, I could only manage England. I couldn't manage any other team. I couldn't manage any club, any other nation, nothing. It
Oh
was
right.
only England who was on the game. And obviously, I'd been playing through the World. I think it was around World Cup
Mm,
2002, maybe Euro 2004, around that time for him. But
yeah.
yeah, it wasn't a good game. But I've just remembered something. My
Yeah.
very first Championship Manager game, I've remembered it. I don't know how I
Yeah.
forgot about this. It was Championship Manager Italia.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And on that game, you could only manage the Italian teams. And I remember me and my mum, we found this at like a car boot or, one of these second-hand
Right.
kind of think places.
Yeah.
And I'd played the game with on my brother's Mac. And this one, it was there. And I think it was about £2 or something like that. And I begged my mum, please, can I buy this game, Championship Manager Italia? She was like,
Yeah.
okay. And I bought it and I took it home. And I remember you had to use MS-DOS to install it.
That's DOS. What's that? Was like is it a weird like, random software system or something? What's that?
So I don't know how to explain it because I'm not very good with computers, but like basically it was like the old operating system before it became like Windows maybe.
Right. Yeah.
So like you would go onto your thing and you had to put it in MS-DOS and like the computer screen would go into this like very old funky kind of thing where literally you could just write commands in and it would just be something like dash dash install dash dash play and then it would launch it. Championship Manager Italia would come up and you could only be obviously teams in the Italian league.
Yeah. What year is this? About late 90s.
Nah, this would have been like early to midnight. 'Cause I remember Marcel
Wow.
Desailly was in the AC Milan team at the time.
Like, oh man, and this is when like Football Italia was on the TV. Yeah. Do you remember that?
It was, yeah. Speaking of
And
football, Italia, I'm planning on doing a podcast about that with Zadoaz. I can hear that. But yeah, that was my
yeah.
first game. Champ Man Italia. And again, I did the same thing on that. Because it was just
Yeah.
me, I used to manage about seven. I used to manage all the best Italian teams: Juve, Inter, Milan, Lazio, Parma, Sampdoria, all the ones that the
Oh, that's
major players at
cool.
the time. And I just used to like the fantasy scenario, being able to trade players between them, which is kind of
Yeah.
realistic in Italy. But I used to love that game. But yeah,
Yeah, it was
oh
great as well because like with the like those kind of games got you because obviously there was no internet, was there? You know what I mean? So you'd only
no, yeah,
really hear about all these um, international players from these games. You know what I mean?
and it let you
Like
really
you know what I
geek
mean?
out over these players as well, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you like I remember from things like Football Italia, you find out people like Gabriel Batistuta and
Yeah,
Hernan Crespo and Seedorf and Davids and having games like that would introduce you to like non-English players, which is interesting.
that's it. And the Championship Manager Italia.
Mm,
I remember at one point thinking this isn't realistic because Marcel Desailly was at AC Milan and he was a
yeah,
centre mid, and at the time in real life he was at Chelsea and he was a
yeah,
centre half,
centre back,
and
yeah,
I was like, how is he a centre mid? This I mean I get it, he must have been at Milan before, but how is he a centre
mm,
mid? This is unrealistic. Not knowing anything about his past or anything like that,
yeah,
but just being a stupid kid. But yeah, all in all, memories of football manager, Championship Manager. Let's rate Championship Manager out of 10. For you, what is
oh,
Championship Manager out of 10?
well, I mean, are we talking about just the general series? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be a 10. I mean, love it. It's literally like what people say about like heroin. Like apparently it's meant to be so good that it will literally ruin your life. It's like for me, Football Manager, I could happily play that all the time. Do you know what I mean?
I
It's
know
like
it's.
it's such a good game. I
I
definitely
completely agree.
it's got to be a 10, man. It's just I mean it kind of it absorbs you, doesn't it? It kind of what I mean? You can take your time with it, Like I remember being in work and thinking, all right, which striker should I sign? And I would spend like 8 hours while I've been bored off my tits and
I've
work
been there.
thinking,
I've been there. You start
uh,
playing a game one night, and then you're getting really
yeah,
hot and heavy into it, and you got to go to work the next day, and all you can think about is, I can't wait to go home and manage
yeah.
Stockport County. I can't wait to go home and see if I can turn that left wing back into a left midfielder. Oh, what's going
Oh,
to happen
yeah.
tonight on another adventure on Football Manager?
Oh, I'll tell you what, this is going to be the day where Ian Wright stops his goal drought. Like,
Oh,
this
when
is
a play,
going,
when a striker's going through a goal drought, I hate that.
oh, God. And oh, yeah, we could, yeah, it
We
always
could we
usually
could we
happens.
could talk about this all day, but yeah, just let's cut it there. I completely agree
Yeah.
with you. Championship Manager for me is a 10 out of 10. It's such an immersive experience. All the stuff you can do.
Oh,
I love scouting players. I love the scout reports coming up. 5 star, four and a
oh,
half star,
yeah.
2 star. Don't sign this player. Selling
Oh,
players because of this. Selling players because of that.
fucking
I want to move. I don't
feed
want
me
to come to
more.
training. There's so much that goes on,
It's a
Kieran.
drama, man. It's dramatic. It's like a soap opera,
It
but
is.
there's like football in it, which I love.
Yeah. Speaking of soap operas with football, there's Dream Team, and I'd love to do an episode on Dream Team one day. I don't know if you ever watched
Dream Team.
that, but
Do you remember Francis and Morey Rodriguez?
oh, I
Was
used
it
to love it. But
Luis?
we can keep,
Yeah,
Kieran, we can keep talking all day. The people, they need some closure, and I think we should give it
closure.
to them. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for joining me. Is there anything you want to plug before you head off?
Um, not as of yet, no. But you know, what I mean, just add me on Facebook and stuff, and on Instagram.
There you go. Add him on Facebook and stuff, and on Instagram. What's your
Yeah.
Instagram handle?
It's I think it's CIA Mull, and obviously I'm gonna put more of my comedy stuff. I've got loads of videos because obviously stand-up comedy doesn't exist at the moment, so I'm just gonna be putting up little clips and stuff.
There you go. That's CIAMULL on Instagram. CIA Mull. Cool. Thank you very much for joining me today, Kieran. I've really enjoyed going back down the rabbit hole of Championship Manager with you. Thank you all for
Oh,
listening. See you later.
cool. So on a bit.